And we have to understand that freedom of expression is absolutely fundamental to a healthy society, because without it, you cannot have a political process in which people put forward policy ideas and people challenge them and criticize them. You cannot have the rule of law where people can accuse and defend. You cannot have an education system worth its name if you can't explore ideas, different opinions, different ways of looking at things. You can't have a literary culture or indeed any kind of artistic culture if people can't express themselves freely and try out new things. So if you deny freedom of expression, you kill a society. But to say that it is fundamental is not the same thing as to say that it is unqualified, because there are obviously times when an irresponsible use of free expression can be extremely harmful. The standard example we all know is to shout fire in a crowded theater, especially when there's no fire. Well, you might do you're free to shout fire, but if you do it, you can cause a great deal of harm. Therefore, the question is, when is the use of free expression responsible and when is it irresponsible? How do you decide? And the answer is, you can only decide on a case-by-case basis. What you want in the ideal is a thoughtful, mature-minded society able to judge when to say something and how to say it, when it's appropriate, when it needs to be said, when you should find a better way of saying what you want to say, so that you can achieve two things. Firstly, open and free communication, but secondly, open and free communication which is respectful enough and thoughtful enough about the health of society not to use or abuse freedom of expression to do harm, to cause harm. This can only be done case by case. And as I say, it does require something idealistic, which is that people should be thoughtful and sensible. And as you know, with the exception of all the people in this room, people are not sensible and thoughtful generally, and they tend to be driven by their emotions. And when they are driven by their emotions, and that they can lash out and they can say and do things which are very angry. But that is precisely what we should be trying to encourage ourselves and one another to do, which is to say, so precious is freedom of expression in a society, so precious, like a crystal vase, that we have to handle it with care, use it properly, and never use it as an excuse to harm others.